Over the last 2 years, numerous industries were rocked by the Me Too movement. It involved many women sharing their traumatic experiences such as sexual harassment and rape with the world, and thus giving other women with similar experiences the courage to talk about theirs. The movement began with a few courageous women, and it saw top executives and people in power facing the heat as more and more people had the courage to spill the beans about their crooked past. Today, the esports world is having its own Me Too movement, and Dota 2 hasn't been left out. Several prominent streamers, talents, and players are in the crosshairs. Here's every public allegation that has been made so far and the responses given so far. Let's start with Grant. The North American talent's career is practically dead. It started with the mobile game scenario writer Cofactor Strudel talking about his improper interaction with her at the TI7 after party. Afterwards, Grant came forward, validated the event, and apologized for his behavior. However, things escalated when Scanzor tweeted on the behalf of Llama Down Under, an Australian caster, saying that Grant's alleged harassment literally forced her out of the Dota 2 esports scene. Scanzor also called out Beyond the Summit co-founders Gods and LD, Director of Business Operations at EG Conrad Jansen, and Blitz's sister Grace Lee Cho for enabling this. The matters reached a boiling point when the cosplayer Wicked Cosplay made an outright rape allegation on behalf of a person who wished to remain anonymous. Wicked Cosplay stated that during TI4, the anonymous victim was drugged and then taken advantage of sexually by Grant. Following all this, Grant tweeted about leaving the Dota 2 scene and esports scene possibly forever. He also got removed from Evil Geniuses. For the detailed story about this incident, check out our previous video. Now on to Sage Dean, the former Digital Chaos manager and streamer. In a tweet, she says that, "Know what happened when I tried to speak up about my abuse in the industry to the people in my circle? I watch my colleagues and people who I thought were my friends stay and side with the abuser and talk shit behind my back. That's why we stay silent. The outcome is rarely positive." Moxie, a Dota 2 caster, spoke about the culture surrounding the entire industry. She says, "The fact that I hesitate when parents approach me at events saying that their daughters love my casts and want to be a part of esports breaks my heart. Esports is amazing, but the amount they'll have to fight and constantly be on guard, just as a gamer, not even as a pro, is insane." Streamer, host, cosplayer, and content creator, Renaissance spoke about how prevalent harassment is in the scene. She talks about being harassed, hit on, cornered, inappropriately approached, propositioned, grabbed at events, and etc. She also talks about how she teaches cosplay volunteers for DreamHack to check in with cosplayers and identify if they are uncomfortable. On to the retired Dota professional Demon. An artist and streamer named Eileen posted a tweet longer where she accused Demon of inappropriate behavior. At MLG Columbus, she was working with Twitch as a partnership rep and event host. She was running a small after party when Jimmy allegedly approached her to talk to her privately. He reportedly pulled her into a small and fairly dark place and told her to kiss him. When she went to open the door to leave, he supposedly shoved the door back closed and pleaded for a kiss and possibly grabbed her arm to keep her from leaving. He let her go later. Demon has not come ahead and made any public response to these allegations just yet. Moving on to the discussions around the Dota 2 caster and personality Zyori. He's been accused of rape by Ashley Christ, a Twitch streamer and cosplayer, and of pressuring Kips, the former coach of TNC and Complexity, into sex from his position of power. Ashley Christ talks about being invited to the second Dota Summit as a cosplay guest by a well-known Dota 2 caster. They slept in bed in the after party, and while they didn't have sex, he asked if he could tell everybody that they did to look cool. She agreed to let him. Zyori later validated this claim and also spoke about how living under the same roof as his bosses and feeling the social pressure led to him making such a request.
Were we planning on having sex? Okay, yes. Did we? No. Does this white lie hurt anybody if it gives me some social points? And she just kind of laughed and said, "I don't give a shit. You can do whatever you want." I said, okay. So I kind of did. You know, I jokingly told the boys at BTS that we did it, kind of based on her permission.
He also talks about how he thought there was some mutual attraction at the after party with no power dynamics in play. She claims that she later felt ashamed of not having sex with him because he invited her and she felt like she owed him something. She was invited again to the BTS house for Christmas where she got her period on the first day. He ended up allegedly pressuring her into sex, and while not feeling it, she felt indebted to do that for him. With the Christmas story, Zyori acknowledges that he knew she was on her period, which is why they said that they should just hang out. He also states that the period wasn't a big deal for him, and they did sleep, but it was mutually consensual. He also remembers sending pictures of the bloody bedsheet, but doesn't remember the context. Later in a YouTube video, he talks about the power dynamics behind the entire scenario, and he says that he never believed that he was asking for sex with some idea of having a right to it because he invited her.
And I strongly reject the notion that I systematically identified people to target at events, or even that I hired any of those cosplayers with ulterior motives. I hired all of those cosplayers at the Summit 2 because of the merit of their work, because they were fantastic fashion designers that were top-tier cosplayers, and I thought they would be a good fit for our event. There was no plan, there was no thought of, I can't wait to get to the after party so I can hit on Ashney.
Gibbs shared a similar story of how she felt indebted to Zyori because he took her to the TI5 after party. She nevertheless rejected his advances. Finally, we have the Dota 2 caster TobiWan. Cofactor Strudel tweeted that multiple women had told her to be wary of Toby Dawson, and some of his victims are still too scared to come forward, even anonymously. She also alleged that his actions put girls in therapy. Later, Toby retweeted Wicked Cosplay's accusation on Grant, saying that this is sickening to the core. Another Twitter user tweeted to him saying that we know you aren't innocent, following which Toby said, I agree, and I'm thankful to my fiancée and her friends for helping me become a better man than I once was. However, Cofactor Strudel minced no words when she demanded accountability from him. Toby later made another tweet saying that he was opening his Twitter DMs and wanted to atone for his horrible actions in the past. Capitalist, a fellow Dota 2 caster, tweeted that if anyone came out publicly with the allegations against Toby, he will support them. Trent tweeted in support of Cap. Replying to the tweet, an artist named Botjira alleged that he pinned me down in a hotel room and I almost didn't escape. Toby later denied these allegations through his side of the story. Nevertheless, he admitted to wrongful sexual conduct with a co-worker at Join Dota with whom he was in a relationship and a cosplayer he met at TI5. But this doesn't end here, as a cosplayer Miruna accused him of sexual assault after his apology, saying that he did not take no for an answer and initiated sexual activity with her against her clear and repeated wishes. She claims that she was 18 and naive, while Toby was 26. Sinrin, who was Miruna's boyfriend, other casters, and even organizations such as Beyond the Summit have publicly cut ties with him. However, the final nail in the coffin came when Valve subtly acknowledged the allegations against Toby by removing his voice lines from the TI-10 Battle Pass. There are multiple other Dota celebrities like Brax and Hotbit who are coming in the public and sharing their incidents too. It's important to make women in our community feel safe. It starts with actions at a micro level. See someone being harassed in a pub game? Call it out. Don't be dismissive of people's claims when they finally find the courage to speak and take action about incidents where they have been wronged. At the same time, be skeptical, but not rude, because a false allegation could potentially destroy careers. Look at both the sides for the story before jumping the gun. As a community, we have the power to make Dota a better place for people and for all genders. For many of us, Dota is a safe space, so let's keep it that way.